Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. This style here. I'm being joined by the one, the only Reggie Owens. What's going on, Reggie? You ready for my jab or what? I don't think you're ready, bro. All right. And of course, being joined by Stormy Beeman as well. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's up? What's up?
What's good with you, man? Good to be here, bro.
Absolutely. This is another episode of Weekend Aftermath, March 2nd edition. And of course, make sure those listening right now on archive, throw a jab at the like button. Make sure the like button turns blue. All right. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you jab that like button. All right. John Lehuvin is on the chat. What's going on, bro? Make sure you throw that damn jab to the like. All right. This well, first of all, Reggie, how you been, man? How's it going?
Man, I've been good, man. I can't complain. Adjusting to my new time schedule, but other than that, I've been good, man.
Tell everyone where they could find you. Look at this. I'm actually using a pen for my notes right now.
Oh yeah, y'all can find me Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens here on YouTube and also on Instagram, Reggie76544. But you ain't gonna get boxing shit over there. I'm all over the place. But that's where you can find me.
Look at this. This episode is brought to you by Sharpie. Look at these beautiful notes, by the way. Look at this aftermath, the whole nine. I do use pen while I'm doing the show, of course. I don't want to be all, full of Sharpie. That's right. Stormy B, man, is, he's doing it the right way. Okay. Stormy, tell everybody where they could find you. What's going on with your channel, bro?
Well, yeah, everybody can find me on the Stormy B Man channel here on YouTube. I have a few things going on. Got the Tuesday tussle. I got the Friday night chop session. And with my man Reggie is joining me there. And then I have every other Saturday, I have In the Eye of the Storm, which the next show will be featuring blood boxing. Can you believe that? Finally got a hold of blood. And also the Three Wise Men of Boxing. Every other Saturday, these shows run. So Stormy is starting to get a little busy, and the people are starting to come to check us out. So that's wonderful. And thanks to help from people like yourself, bro.
Absolutely. Speaking of blood, you can watch the Retro Boxing and Documentaries. That's his channel. The Larry Holmes versus Cooney 1982. Check it out. The link is in the description box. So you guys can go ahead and check that one out. Press the like button, man, and share that video. Of course, great work with the Trap House and Scrapbook Boxing. Right. So that is that. Check that one out. Anyway. With all that said, Joseph Parker defeats Shonda Winters. Stopped him. What were your thoughts on that fight, Stormy?
I thought it was definitely a fight for Parker to shake his ring rust off. Right. And his opponent was looked like someone that was really meant for the light heavyweight division to me, but really labored. He suffered, and he was hitting the guy. He looked more physically stronger than the guy, and of course the weight deficit, because I believe when he come in like 201 or something like that. And Parker being 6'4", huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 205.
Yeah, he's relatively small, had very small legs. So, and a lot like the Wilder fight, the weight difference was really much for him. And finally, when Parker was able to get leverage on a good shot, he was able to, do some damage. But I noticed that how Parker was shots cleanly. And that kind of concerned me, because if he's going to be fighting at that top level, man, he's going to have to show up that defense. And he is fighting rather infrequently. So it'll be interesting who he takes on next. but I've kind of lost confidence in him since the Andy Ruiz Jr. fight, because that looked like a fight that he could have easily lost a decision to. And he's kind of been treading on water since then with the AJ loss and everything, and Dillian White. So I don't know where Mr. Parker can go. He'll always be a tough guy because, not trying to be funny about it, but the people over there, Tongan and Samoan people, they're very tough people. They're tough competitors.
Yep.
So he'll always be in a fight, but I just don't know if he's. I believe he's maxed out at what he'll be able to do as far as at the top of the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. For those in the chat, what do you think, man? Joseph Parker, what should he do next? I think Joseph Parker next. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Joseph Parker against Luis Ortiz. That's a fight that could be made. It's a possible fight. I wouldn't mind a rematch with Andy Ruiz. I know Mr. Boxing Today has put that out there. If Andy Ruiz wants to get back in the mix, Joseph Parker wants to get back in the mix, that rematch to me is a perfect fight to make right now. What do you think of that potential matchup, Reggie?
Him and Andy Ruiz, that would be pretty solid for both of them to get back on track. And Andy's looking for a step-in opponent. Why not do the rematch? It's a fight that he was possibly robbed in. That's all for the makings of a rematch. So most definitely, I most definitely can agree with that.
Absolutely, man. So what do you think about that potential rematch or any other opponent you would rather see Parker with, Stormy? I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
the rematch with Ruiz Jr., I would like to see that. The fight with Luis Ortiz sounds very interesting because that's a great heavyweight matchup that should be made amongst these men who are in the top 10. So it's like, I have no problem with fighters that are in the top 10 fighting each other. That's been the problem, that these guys are not making moves to jockey their positions. You can jockey your positions by defeating someone, or you can solidify your position by defeating someone who's around you. And I've been saying it for a while that these guys they're like, they have those magnets turned around backwards, and they're just repelling away from each other and not connecting and coming together. But it would be great to see these fighters start being toward matching up with each other, because I believe there are probably about 4 of these guys out of the top 10 who deserve to be in the top 5, but you can't get that affirmation until they start fighting each other.
Absolutely. I do agree with that. Let's start getting it on. You know what I mean? Parker's also there, for the winner of Dubois and, I forgot his name again.
Jojo.
Jojo. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's there. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be a name for a lot of guys. If you want to promote a fight with a heavyweight, you could always promote a former heavyweight champion, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So it's all there. You know what I mean? Maybe a rematch with AJ where AJ doesn't get to take a timeout so they can fix his tape. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to throw that one in. Okay. But, or maybe a rematch with Dillian White. I like to see some fresher matchups myself, but some people have thrown that out there. What's going on, Jay Souza? Shout out to you, AJ Tendon, Oscar Rivas versus Parker. That's a good matchup as well. Rivas will get to fight somebody that doesn't have the commission on their side. You know what I mean? So that'll be some. Marisa Chavez says Ruiz versus Parker rematch would be good. All right. AJ 10 mentioned Dillian White. Absolutely. G-Funk, it's all good. Thanks for listening. Make sure you throw a jab at the like button. Okay. Use the effing jab, says Floyd Mayweather Sr. says Dope 23. Thank you for that. And of course, AJ 10 says just hit the jab. Absolutely. Kenneth Johnson, how's it going? You guys are tuning in to the March 2nd edition of Aftermath. Let's go move to
The
this
D
one.
style.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing you said about a rematch with Parker and Dillian White,
Hmm.
I don't believe anyone that Dillian White has fought thus far that could deservingly get a rematch with him. I think nobody should rematch him until he starts facing somebody else in that top 10 too, because this guy is just trying to, you know, hang around like a what do they call those vultures looking for a carcass, to pick off. He doesn't want to get in there and really throw his hat in the loop. And I think he needs to do that because otherwise, I mean, he's really unproven against, top notch. So they should angle him, make him fight somebody, Dominique Brazil or somebody, because these other guys, I don't think they have. I think that Dillian White is like that one chess piece in the board that you can't move, and everybody's trying to angle and get around, but he's in the way, man. He's in the way, and until they make him fight somebody, he's just gonna try to hang around and get that title shot off of that number one mandatory thing or whatever. But I swear that guy's in the way.
We'll see what happens with that. I thought Ruiz would have been a good opponent for White. That seems to fall off. So I mean, we will see how that goes, man. Marcus Johnson, how's it going, man? Make sure you guys stay here as we continue. We'll be talking the Martinez fight next, but of course, Chocolatito is back. Mike Garcia versus Jesse Vargas, and Mayweather wanted to train Wilder. Okay, stay tuned as we continue here. Julio Cesar Martinez is quickly becoming one of my favorite fighters in the sport. Okay, like favorite fighters to watch. The guy's exciting. He brings it. Pretty solid puncher for those weight classes. So he defeats Jay Harris. I'll be honest, man. When I give my assessment on this fight, I did say Jay Harris, was pretty good, but I honestly thought Martinez was going to stop him mid rounds. I didn't think Harris was going to be able to take that much punishment. Apparently, he could. Little British dude brought it hard. In my opinion, right now as we stand, it's only March. Okay, so everybody's going to calm down. It's only March, but right now this is probably the fight of the year in my opinion. Right now, all right. I don't think it's going to be the fight of the year by December, but as of right now, it's a front runner in my opinion. Martinez, he brought him in. He punished this kid. I really love the combinations. Couldn't take him out of there, man. I saw the post fight pictures of Harris that he put up. His eyes were swollen. I mean, the dude looked like he looked jacked up, right? And I don't think this is the type of fight Jay Harris should have every time out. You know what I mean? I think he needs to work a little bit on his defense and stuff like that because he was getting lit up in his fight. And I'm telling you, your career ain't going to last if you keep fighting like that. Now, I could say the same thing about Martinez, but Martinez is winning. It is a type of fight he wants guys to fight him in to have success. I still want to see how guys will do when they could box around him. But, Stormy, how'd you see that fight, man?
First of all, hats off to Harris, man. That dude showed a lot of moxie and a lot of guts and determination in that fight. Early on, when he felt Martinez's power, he was like, oh, this is a different class right here. But as fighters can do in a corner that works with them well, they were able to settle him down and get him to refocus and remember to box. Sound familiar? It's like once he began to box, the fight changed and became more competitive because you don't just win fights with power. Sometimes you have to use skill, you have to use guile, you have to use ring IQ, whatever that you're supposed to have in the complete toolbox. You should be able to refer to that to bring it into what you're facing. And Harris did that very well. The only thing he didn't have is he didn't have the type of power to threaten Martinez. Martinez, as you had alluded to, needs to shore up his defense. because there will be some guys who have pop on their punches. And the fact that he likes to kind of just wade in with guys with his hands low, he will run into something and find out, oh, somebody else can hurt me. But in the meantime, he's exciting. He's an upfront, in your fight face type fighter that is fan friendly. People love to see guys like this who rumble. Unfortunately, guys like that who don't learn to pick up a little defensive ability and skill or two as far as evading punches, their careers don't last very long. But in the meantime, at the smaller weights like this, there will be an audience to see this little powerhouse here. But I would like to see him try to box a little more himself. But it apparently he's used to hurting people when he hits them and then being able to overrun them. But very good fight, as you said. Harris put on a good show, a great show, I think more than what was expected, because he was definitely brought in as the opponent, but he didn't fight like it. Once he settled down, he was battling. So I agree with you on that. Fight of the year candidate. And too bad these little guys couldn't get paid a little extra for their efforts, because they were exciting on that card that night.
Man, like these little guys, man, aren't they perfect, Stormy? Like for the big, massive fights, because they're not the star, but they'll give you a great undercard. You know what I mean? Like they'll put on a show for you. So I really hope that they put some more of these fights on these big events, because and for anybody that says no, why put them in like they're gonna get more attention on the undercard of a welterweight championship fight or heavyweight championship fight than they will if they're the main event. That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? So that's their shine. That's where people get to see them. When Finito Lopez was fighting on the undercard of Tyson fights, that was his big payday. You know what I mean? That's where he got to shine. That's where most people that's the only time they got to see him fight. You know what I mean?
And he always delivered as well. His fights were also exciting on those cards, and they usually ended suddenly because he could put guys away himself, and that warmed the crowd up very well. It's amazing when you see these little guys knock the other guy out because they're so small. I mean, this guy would literally probably come up to my solar plexus. He's a little bitty dude. But when they, as a powerhouse, when you see men small in stature like that knocking one another out, just imagine bringing them up to bigger weight classes doing the same thing. And that's how amazingly that you can equate what they're doing at being such small frame guys. And I don't like when people crap on the little guys like that, because it's like, hey, man started out little. You understand? We just grew through the ages, and this is what happens. But yeah, they're exciting, man. Love to see these guys.
I want to ask the two of you. I mean, he says he wants to stay and defend for a while, but me personally, I want to see him move up and fight Juan Estrada, bro. El Gallo. You know what I mean? That's who I want to see him fight. And to be honest with me, with you guys, I think that would be a hell of a fight. Okay, I think Estrada does beat him though, because Estrada can box better than Martinez if we keep it real. But can Martinez get to him? Like, it'll be interesting, man. That can be like this generation's Marquez Vasquez type of deal. And they could put on some great fights. So for those that haven't watched Marquez Vasquez fights, those were hell fights. You know what I mean? What do you think about that, Reggie? Him fighting Estrada?
The thing, I'm not too familiar with Marquez, but Estrada, I'm rocking with Estrada. But Martinez, I'm not. Is that his name? Yeah, I'm not familiar with him because I missed the fight as well.
I got you, man. No problem, man. All right. Marissa Chav says Martinez Harris is the fight of the night. Souza, I like Martinez too. No way Martinez is the fight of the night, says Ronald Finkley. It was Chocolatito. Well, we're going to talk about Chocolatito in a little bit. Martinez was solid. I want to see more of him. Absolutely. I mean, he's just taking W's, bro. He's just getting W's off you British dudes. Okay, W after W. I think he should retire from beating up British dudes and get in the ring with another Mexican like Estrada, bro. It's what I think Martinez needs to do. Okay, I'm just saying. Ronald Finkley, Salute Styles Boxing already. Thank you very much. Well, we appreciate it. DJ Zion loves his saludo. Chocolatito showed why he's a Hall of Famer, says Marisa Chavez. Kenneth Johnson says Martinez is a must watch. Miguel Mondragon says, can't wait to see rematch of El Gallo Estrada versus Gonzalez. I do want to talk about that. We will get there. Ronald Finkley, yes, indeed. Marisa, he says, Ronald Finkley over here talking about Chocolatito. We're going to get there. I just want to ask Stormy one more question about Martinez, but we're going to get there. Okay, AJ10, Finito Lopez to fight on Tito Trinidad undercards in Madison Square Garden. Absolutely. Okay. And you know what? Like, dudes like my grandfather loved that because then he didn't have to stay up like 2, 3 in the morning to watch the dude fight in freaking Japan and shit on Televisa. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's going to be an undercard of like this. Oh, okay, good. Like, you know what I mean? I'm 70, 80 years old. I don't want to stay up, you know? So, like, I'm just saying. So that's that. Stormy, well, what did you think? What do you think about Martinez going up and fighting Estrada?
Well, because of his defensive liabilities, it'll be exciting till Estrada start putting those beams on him because he can box.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll carry that power or not. Seeing how that power can be a factor. It'll action fight. That can't deny it. But Estrada is definitely a fighter that would welcome someone like him because, again, I think that certain fighters in the game, just as we talked a moment ago about guys avoiding each other, there are some guys out there, those lower weight classes, they're looking for opportunities because they want to show themselves at their best or showcase themselves at their best. And for some reason, you can kind of honestly admit this, D-Style, that at the lower weights, like those tiny guys, when they move up those couple of pounds and face other, they kind of relish those challenges. It seems to be like when guys get around 126 and start going up, that they start, picking and choosing who they may want to face and stuff like that. But those lower guys, they don't care, man. They'll get it on.
Yeah. I mean, the truth is, they don't see the paydays like that. You know what I mean? They have to fight the top guys for them to get paid. So that's just the way. That's just the way it is. Because people don't pay attention to them as it is. Imagine if they were cherry picking. No, nobody would watch them. You know what I mean? Like, you're not even fighting the best. What? So yeah, man, it is interesting, and it's interesting as the lower you go down in weight or the higher you go up in weight. I heard Chavez Senior, not Junior. We don't care what Junior said, okay? But Senior said on Los Golpes, and something that we're going to touch on later when we talk about Larry Holmes is the more separate the weight classes get, they're almost like completely different sports. Like things that work in the higher weight classes don't necessarily work in the lower weight classes, and vice versa. The strategy is different and things like that. You know what I mean? So any lower weight classes, yes, they're very offensive minded. They are able to take a little more risk in the ring because it's rare that they're going to get hit with that one punch that's going to knock them out. So you see, more combinations being thrown and stuff like that. The defense isn't always 100% there because of that. You know what I mean? If you're not very active throwing punches, you're not going to win decisions in those weight classes. You have to be very active. That's what makes them exciting. But we'll see. But speaking of the little guys, all right, we're not done talking about the little guys because Chocolatito Gonzalez, who I'm going to keep it real, I thought he was done, right? And maybe, there's that old saying, all these guys, they got one more fight in them sometimes, one more performance. And maybe this was it. But Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez knocks out Cal Yafai. The knockout was beautiful, by the way. Right through the guard, knocked him down. Um, Reggie, what you think of the performance in the knockout? And was it what you pretty much expect?
Man, brilliant performance. I enjoyed the hell out of it, especially to see Chocolatito, get this opportunity after coming from an ultra high of being viewed as this pound for pound dude, getting beat by the same guy twice, being ridden off. I think going in here, Eddie Hernan and matched him up against Kyle as a good name to add on to Kyle's resume, and it ended up backfiring. And it was a good performance. I think Kyle didn't fight his fight. I think Kyle went in there to try to prove a point, stand on the inside, boxing against this much. Not sure the age difference, but thinking that this guy was just kind of a wash past his prime, buying into him being ridden off rather than respecting this guy and sticking to his approach, his common approach to fight, which is to stay on the outside and box a guy. He stayed in there and tried to thump with Chocolatito. I just like the way Chocolatito mixed his punches, where he target down to the head, target down to the body very effectively, and he just worked this dude. And then by time Cal tried to start opening distance, it wasn't the box on the outside. It was a get away from Chocolatito, who was right up on his heels, and he beat him the whole night. I only gave Cal like one round in the fight. Yeah, I only gave him round number 3. Other than that, Chocolatito was dominating this fight because Cal fought Chocolatito's fight, and Chocolatito looked good at doing what he was doing. But it was a spectacular knockout. It was impressive for that crowd that was out there, and it's back to the drawing board for Cal. But now Chocolatito I heard something about him positioning for unification. So he's back in the spotlight once again. So this is the way you want, this is the way you wish for fighters like this to, resurrect their careers and get one more opportunity at something. But I enjoyed it. It was a dope fight, very dope fight. And Cal did a pretty good thing. He made it entertaining by trying to stay in there and bang with this ex-champion. But that's all I got for that one, man.
Well, what you think of the fight, Stormy?
This was another case of those young guys that I talk about, titleists, getting a title, attaining a title before you really learn how to fight. Because Yafei was he's a young champion, but he didn't have all the tools to deal with a guy like Chocolatito. They may have looked at Chocolatito's losses and felt like, oh, we might be, younger and stronger. We could take this and sneak this victory. But the last thing to go in an aging fighter or a fighter that may be on a decline or something would be his power. And Chocolatito never had a problem putting punches together. And in his losses against Rung Visai, you saw that Rung Visai was just a stronger man than he. So it was not like he was shop worn and beat down or something like that. He lost to a stronger fighter. And so in this instance, Chocolatito was Rung Visai and Yafei was Chocolatito, but without the experience that Chocolatito had. So again, let this be a lesson to fighters out there about fighting various styles, guys who got a little heat on their punches, guys who could move, guys who are going to stand in front of you, guys who have a heavy beard, and all of this. You have to take that into consideration. I saw immediately after the first round, the strength wasn't there. He wasn't as steady on his feet when they got close in hands as he thought he might be. And you don't want to get in the ring and discover these things like, uh-oh, what do I do now? You want to know these answers before you get in the ring, as far as how steady you are, what you can do physically and everything. And it's a shame, but kudos to Chocolatito for being able to come back and win a title. And maybe this time he can be in a position to defend his title without all of that bells and whistles of someone trying to convince us how much pound for pound he is, and let us just watch him go about his work, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. When
Yeah.
you're seasoned, you learn some things. He got dropped, he's been cut, he's been through the heat. He can tell these guys, these younger guys, more about the story than they can tell him, because he's been through some things. And I like that. I like when these veterans can come back and show these young upstarts something, because they think just because they got a title, oh, I'm the bad guy, you know. Well,
Yeah.
here was a lesson right here. Boxing 101. I love it.
Boxing 101. Make sure, speaking of 101, right? You got to make sure you throw a jab at the like button. Make sure the like button turns blue. Let's get to 30 likes ASAP. We're almost there. If you're listening on an archive, do the same thing. Kenneth Johnson, why did your fight choose to sit there and bang? You know, sometimes dudes just are confident about some. They think they see some, and then they find out otherwise. You know what I mean? Like they thought, well, if wrong side did it, I could do it too. Well, no, that's not the way it works. You know what I mean? Ronald.
And the funny thing about that, D style too, is this: you're seeing it more in today's boxing. It shows the lack of IQ in these guys. Even when a guy realizes, oh, I can't take his punch that well, they don't get on the bicycle and start moving and start boxing better or whatever. They'll just meet their demise right there when it's decided he can't take the guy's punch. Next thing you know, he takes a few of them and he checks out. Because it's like, when does a guy get it in his head that I'm going to sit down and try to trade with this heavy puncher or whatever and instead of using his boxing skills?
Right.
Because he hasn't been taught. You have to make adjustments. If you can fire on the guy and hurt him or whatever, you go in cautiously. You don't go in reckless abandon, because you might get caught with something.
You're right.
But it's showing. You can see the boxing IQ in these guys unfold before your very eyes if you're watching the match and you're looking at the right things.
Look at these trunks, bro. It's just taken on it, bro. Like, you don't just go and try to slug it out with a dude with trunks that say taken. Are you out of your mind, bro? You better box, bro. All right? Like, I'm just saying, bro. All right, and this is gonna come to bang. Like, I'm just telling you guys right now. It says taken on it. All right? Coach saying I appreciate it. Darth Vader says, reach out and grab the guy, do something to offset him. But, you know, hey, man, Chocolatito's a veteran, bro. Like, he probably, you know, in his mind.
Yafe thought that said Tecate.
Tecate. This dude, he's ready to retire. Dude, it says taken. All right? Like, you don't trade and bang with a dude with trunks that say taken, bro. You just don't do it. All right? But Chocolatito, I guarantee you guys, the first thing that came to mind when this dude came right at him and stood right there, he said, "Este güey está loco." Like, this motherfucker's stupid. Okay? I'm about to show him, right? I'm about to show this guy. Like, this guy thinks he could trade with me. And for a round or two, it looked like he was hanging in there. But guess what, man? You're fighting his fight. He's a master at what he does. You better take him out of his game and show him something else. Right? Like, I am just saying, Dark Vader, what's going on, bro? How's it going? All right. What do you think about him fighting? They've already fought before, Reggie. Does Chocolatito? It was what I want to know.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely lose to Estrada. I think it was just this guy
What's
right
up,
here.
Ronald?
I think this guy fought a bad fight against Chocolatito. Estrada will get the job done, but he'll have to box his way to a victory. He wouldn't be on the inside being able to exchange with Chocolatito. So as long as real cocky, he's confident in himself, but I think he'll get the victory in this one against Chocolatito.
That's right, man. I do think he'll take it. Estrada's just going to look at those trunks and be like, yeah, I better box. You know what I mean? And I don't know if, I still stand by it. I think Estrada won their fight, but it was close enough to where I can't call it a robbery, anything like that, whatever. But well, what do you think about that fight, Stormy? Estrada against Chocolatito, the rematch. You think he still has what it takes to beat Estrada? And I think Estrada's improving since then. But what are your thoughts on that fight?
I think it's a very good fight. Um, the fact that Chocolatito has come back and won a title again will do a tremendous ordeal for his confidence, and that Estrada, with his boxing ability, he has improved. His fight with Rung Visai was very good as well. Excuse me. So I would love to see that again. I would love to see them, because again, when you're fighting class, just because somebody got you on one night doesn't mean you can't make some adjustments and come back and get your pound of flesh on the next go round. So this is why guys need to, have the rematches at the top of the sport. It also stimulates things because it gives other people a chance to grow and mature and get ready to be that next man up. But it also gives you a chance to see the adjustments that a fighter can make and to overcome the adversities that he may have faced the first time around if he lost, and how much another guy has improved in between a loss or a victory. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
This dude had to be out of his mind just going straight at Chocolatito like that, bro. What the hell are you doing, bro? The more I think about it, I'm just saying, bro. All right. Okay, Estrada's definitely improved. I think he wins the decision, says Miguel Mondragon. Absolutely, AJ 10, Chocolatito versus El Gallo. Let's do it. Okay, I've been waiting for that rematch. I think El Gallo is ready. Okay, now he better not be messing around like I've seen him in some fights where he has, he leans against the ropes to show off. He can't do that against Chocolatito, but I say let's do it, man.
Hey, D-Style, that's one of those moments, Yafe, he said, hold my beer.
Nobody can knock out Chocolatito like that ever again. Oh, man, crazy. Okay. But, hey, what are you going to do? All right. You guys are tuning in to the March 2nd edition of Aftermath. Live or archive, press the like button. Make sure the like button does turn blue. If you want to check out Blood Boxing documentary on Holmes Cooney, it is in the description box. Make sure you guys check that out and share that content. Share this video on your social media platforms. Stay here as we have more to talk about. Mayweather wanting to train Wilder being one of the topics, of course. And Larry Holmes on his comments on Wilder and his cornermen. We're going to definitely touch on that as well. So stay tuned. Stay here. All right. But let's first talk about Garcia defeating Jesse Vargas. Reggie, how'd you see that fight?
Man, that was a very, very tight fight, man. Very tight fight. And very good action early on from Jesse Vargas. So I know if Mikey was dealing with a lot of ring rust, being out the ring for the amount of time he was out of there for. Jesse was pretty sharp. He was real sharp. His speed looked good. Accuracy on the jab was great, man. And he was mixing things up on Mikey Garcia. I like the way Jesse will work that jab, where he can shoot the jab down to the body, doubling up on it, come right back up to the top, hitting them with the jab right up to the head. His hooks were nice. His timing and countering Mikey Garcia was nice, but I think he got a little bit too greedy on how good he looked, and he walked himself into in that fifth round. He walked himself into a punch where he was hurt. But even in that fifth round, he was looking pretty good until he got buzzed. And once he got buzzed, the momentum started to shift a little bit for him. Mikey ended up dropping him, but he ended up battling back because a couple of these rounds ended up being swing rounds. So I gave him the first 4 rounds up to 5. And then after that, because even in 5, he started to, in my book on my notes, he started to kind of come back in that round as well. But going into round 6, Mikey, the following round, Mikey really didn't throw off anything. I don't know if he put in too much work in round 5 to where Jesse took that round in my eyes. But then it was like back and forth, going all the way until 12. And the way I scored, I ended up scoring the fight on my card for Jesse Vargas. I think I had it. Damn, why didn't I write that down? I think I had it 115 to 112 for Jesse Vargas. But ultimately, Mikey got that decision. But it was a very good fight. But I think from this one going forward, Mikey has to get right back in this ring. And I already see them talking about a July date. He may need to take it because he's going to have to get active. So I don't know if the ring rust was an issue for him. I just don't know. But he didn't do enough offensively in this fight. So if he goes in against someone else, it may spell trouble for him, someone a little bit greater than Jesse. But I did enjoy this fight, but I think Jesse kind of got the short end of the stick on this one.
All right, let me read through some of these comments here. AJ 10 says he scored at 114, 113. Look at that. Pretty much a draw with the knockdown being the difference. AJ 10 says, look, mate, I can take him out. No jabs for me tonight, says Jeff. Well, great fight. It gave Mikey by 1 point. Gotcha. Miguel Dragon. I don't like Mikey at this weight, in his opinion. Dark says, Garcia looks strong. Jesse average at best. Good win for Mikey. Finkley says, me and Mikey getting wore out at 147. Take his little ass back down. All right. Miguel Dragon says it was close to me, but Mikey pulled it off. Afro Rican G says, yeah, Jesse winning the fight. Man. Dark Vader says Jesse needed to work Mikey's body over. Never got a chance. Ronald Finkley said 50-50 fight. And AJ also mentioned he gave Vargas the first 4 rounds. Stormy, how'd you see the fight?
Well, I saw the first half of the fight going very well for Jesse Vargas. And for a guy who doesn't have a lot of heat on his own punches, he was touching Mikey up a lot. And you saw the end result after the fight. Mikey looked like he had, got caught in the alley. He had a few dollars on him, and some guys ran up on him. So that's how he looked, the worse for wear. But also what that says, you could say that Mikey can't get out of the way of punches himself. So that's something to keep watch of as he wants to continue to campaign at 147, because everybody at 147 is not feather fisted. You know what I mean? And as far as the knockdown, I think was the difference in the fight, because it gave the perception that Mikey was turning the corner. But even though he got dropped and then he got shook in another round, Vargas was still controlling the tempo of the fight. And isn't it funny that no one has mentioned the fact that in Vargas' corner was Mike McCallum, the body puncher. And Vargas was getting in body shots, whether it was by way of jab or throwing a couple of quick hooks down low. But what they failed to tell him, even after he had, suffered the knockdown, get off center line, because Mikey is trying to measure you up. He's looking, because he's got what Mikey does very well. And it's kind of funny because I'll mention it like Deontay Wilder. He's got this thing where he could throw this, like, he won't let it go, and he incites. And Vargas stayed there for the receipt. And it was like, had he not done that, had he just got off of center line a little more often in that fight, he could have won that fight going away, because Mikey was trying to end it with the two. You understand? Even though he's not that big a puncher at that weight class, he thought he could get Vargas with that. And my goodness, we talk about these corners. They could not see that. It was like it was coming, because Mikey was trying to get closer and closer. And when he was touching him with that one, then he started sticking it out there and holding it for just a split second. Then he had fired that two, right? But it wasn't even a combination Mikey was looking for. Mikey was looking for pinpoint shots. So had Vargas, with the good work he was doing, had just begun to give subtle movement to the left, to the right. You don't have to keep circling one way. You can mix it up. He would have won that fight going away. And those are those things that I like to speak of where it shows terrible ring IQ. What the hell is going on? And the trainer, Mike McCallum, highly respected as a former champion and fighter himself, Hall of Famer. But my goodness, man, why weren't you reminding Vargas to just give Mikey an angle? Because Mikey has to have his feet, like any puncher, he has to have his feet planted before he gets off. And you bang him a couple of shots because you're not going to knock him out. Regardless of how much you might want to, you're not. Because you're going to put yourself in harm's way. Bang him those couple of shots, run those combos off, give a little movement. That's all he had to do. But it was a very good fight, highly entertaining.
It was a good fight. Before I continue, I forgot to mention this. Just to rewind really quick on the previous fight. Matchroom and Hearn were getting trolled, bro. Because of the whole Mexican flag with Chocolatito on the picture and stuff. For those who don't know, he's from Nicaragua. He's not from Mexico. All right. So not every Latino fighter is Mexican, Eddie Hearn. All right. I just want, but people were saying, "Oh, it's a clean sweep for Mexico against the UK tonight." Like, you know what I mean? Tagging Eddie Hearn and stuff. I just wanted to mention that. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, for those that were wondering, Chocolatito is from Nicaragua. All right, that's where he's from. So shout out to him. Back to this fight. Look, I thought it was a pretty, like you guys said, it was an interesting, entertaining fight. I enjoyed the fight. I think I do agree that Jesse Vargas had control in the early going. He was doing such a great job with the left hooks as Mikey came in, which kind of surprised me because a hook's a mid-range punch. And I didn't think Vargas would have much success there, but he was, and he was getting the straight right in. I do feel he should have given Mikey different looks. He should have circled a little more than he did. But I think Mikey was measuring him. I don't know if the audio was good there. I apologize. Mikey was measuring him, though, I think. He did give away those first like 2 rounds. I believe I gave Mikey the third. I don't have my scorecard in front of me, but and then Vargas won the 4th, and then the knockdown happened. I do believe he was set up, and I do believe it's because, like you said, Stormy, Vargas wasn't switching it up much, and he gave Mikey like 5-6 rounds to kind of figure out what he's doing. You know what I mean? To figure out his patterns. He was becoming very predictable. And at that point, an experienced boxer, especially a former world champion, is going to set you up if you keep giving him that opportunity. If anything, it might have taken Garcia maybe a little longer than I thought for him to set him up, especially given the fact that Vargas was not switching it up much. But he did knock him down. And then, although I do believe Mikey won the majority of the rounds after that, he allowed Vargas back in the fight. But Vargas should never have been back in that fight. Dude was hurt, out on his feet. And Mikey Garcia, I mean, holy shit, Mikey Garcia could sit down and watch paint dry. That's how patient he is. He's too patient, right? Stop being too patient and go for it. Not every moment has to be perfect. Like it's like he's waiting for the perfect shot. It's like, I mean, I could hit him with this right hand, but it might not be enough of a pop. Like, bro, just throw the damn right hand. The dude's hurt. Even if you partially hit him, it's going to set up another punch. So he needs to kind of work on that a little bit. He's a little too patient. It's not the first time he's allowed guys to come back when they should have been out of the fight. Now, in fairness, Vargas has never been stopped. Pacquiao couldn't stop him. You know what I mean? He stopped Saddam Ali himself. So I can't, say that I'm going to criticize him 100%, but I do believe that he missed an opportunity to stop Vargas. I think both guys made vital mistakes. Vargas early, and in the second half, it was, Mikey himself. Both guys let each other back into the fight. I felt like there was it was pretty much over around round 6 and 7. But Vargas got back in the fight. He got back in the fight. I had him winning rounds 11 and 12. Okay, when he shouldn't have won those, he shouldn't even have been in those rounds. But to win them, I think, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But with that said, I did come away saying to myself, this guy's not a 147 pounder, right? Mike Garcia needs to move his ass back down, okay, to 140 pounds, right? I don't think he can make 135 anymore. 140 is where he should go. A fight I would like to see, all right? A fight that I would like personally, although I don't think the fight will happen because they have the same trainer, is him and Jose Ramirez. I think would be a hell of a fight. Okay, that'll be a big fight in California. They could do it like in Staples Center or something like that. But I don't think that's going to happen given the circumstances of the trainer. I do wonder if Mikey is being stubborn about 147 because Ramirez is in 140. I don't know if he just doesn't want people to bring that fight up or end up being a mandatory or something like that. I don't know. I hear about that. But I would like to see him fight Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor, Mikey, is a more winnable fight for Mikey than a lot of these guys at 147. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on that, Stormy?
That's what I was going to suggest. Josh Taylor. I think it's a good fight for both guys. It's a money fight for both guys. And there's not a real clear winner because we haven't seen Taylor, at that weight yet and everything. But I do believe he has the boxing ability to make it a very interesting fight. And Mikey is going to have to fight if he fights a young man like that because he's got to throw punches. He can't sit around and wait, like you just said about for perfect punches and things like that. And Taylor's going to give him those angles that I was saying that Vargas was supposed to give. Taylor is going to take some chances as well. He has a higher ring IQ. He's riding a wave of success coming out of the tournament, the Super Series.
Yeah.
He's because Rigaru was a big puncher, and he was able to get in and out. So, yeah, I would love to see something like that. That was the very fight that I was going to suggest.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And what are your thoughts on, just in general, Reggie? Should he stay at 147, move down to 140, and if so, who would you like to see him fight next?
I think he should move down, but I think he's at 147 because this is where the money is. I think Mikey's window of interest in the sport, I don't think is long lasting, and he's looking to get these big money fights. I think Mikey's biggest interest is probably investments outside of boxing, and I think 47 is where he wants the money. But success wise, 140 most definitely at 140. I think his power will be tremendous at 140, but there's really nothing down there that intrigues people. And then, I couldn't bring the DAZN shit up because he just fought on DAZN as far as taking him away from being spectators to view what's going on. But the 147 fights are away from DAZN, and they're bigger fights. And so I guess I can bring up the DAZN thing. So DAZN kind of puts him into kind of a shadow that's taken away from majority of people being able to view his events. 147 keeps him in the spotlight. He's viewed on where Americans watch these fights at, and there are bigger names up there for him. But it's more risky, and I think that's what Mikey will take advantage of just being willing to take the risk, not worry about defeats anymore. He has suffered a loss. He's not worried about it. Just pay him is his mindset. But yeah, that's just the way I look at it. Career wise, if he's looking forward, 140 is the best bet for success, but he's in it for this money thing, and I already see where he's going at with it.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be interesting, and I do agree. It does appear that this sound like a pretty good reason as to why he's there, man. Of course, the money, the big fights. I just don't know. This is a weight class for him, man, but it's where he wants to fight. You know what I mean? You can't tell a dude what to do or what to, you know what I mean? If that's what he wants to do, in fairness to him, he wants to fight the big names. But I don't think he's going to have much success, man. You know what I mean? So that's all I got to say about that right now. But I do agree with that. Let's get to this one, man. Well, first, you guys are tuning in to February, March 2nd edition of Aftermath. Make sure you throw a jab at the like button. Make sure the like button does turn blue. We're already over 30 likes. Let's try to get to 40 ASAP. Okay, stay tuned as we'll be talking about Larry Holmes as well and his comments about Wilder's corner. That is next. But right now, I do want to talk about Floyd Mayweather Jr. coming out saying he wants to train Wilder. If he trains Wilder, Wilder will win. And you had a lot of thoughts about this, Stormy. So I want to start off with you, man. What are your thoughts on Mayweather Jr. saying he wants to train Deontay Wilder? Is he an honest actor in this? And what are your overall thoughts about it?
Man, Floyd Mayweather is one of the biggest Wilder haters out there. He's tried to be the anti-Wilder, and I don't take his words saying that he could train Wilder to win in a third fight against Tyson Fury seriously. I don't take that seriously at all. He has done nothing being an investor who could have helped promote the Wilder brand on the last couple of fight cards that Wilder had. You know, Mayweather has had a piece of that money. He's done nothing of the like in his career as far as training anyone. So I don't take that seriously. I think he's more relishing the fact that Wilder now has a loss because that's one less fighter to contest with that 49-0 record that he so selfishly adorns about himself. I don't take it seriously whatsoever. I think it's just really thumbing in Deontay's face, you know. But at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather Jr. doesn't have any credentials that could say he could train someone. He hasn't. I mean, he comes from a family of fighters, but he's been doing the fighting. He hasn't been doing the training. Worked with people in his own private gym or whatever over there. Who has he brought to the ring, been in that corner, done those things under the heat, just like some of the other professional fighters who have turned into cornermen. I just don't like. I think this is more of him stealing spotlight away from Deontay and everything off of the misfortunes of Deontay. So it's like, Floyd be gone. If we had a magic wand that we could just tap it and put a spell and just say, get him and his freaking Gucci riding boots the hell out of here. That's what I would do. You know, banish him to, you know, the what do they call it? Rivendell or whatever, Gryffindor or whatever. Get the hell out of here, Floyd.
Right.
That's what I got to say about that.
Reggie. Well, first, Afro Rican, I appreciate. Maybe he went for the same because of money, right? And Reggie brought up that point. Absolutely, I appreciate the support. Afro Rican G. Reggie, well, what are your thoughts about this, man?
Oh man, no, I'm over here dying with the Gucci riding boots. Oh man, but no, I can't get over this. But no, I can't. No, Floyd is a joke when it comes to the situation of being able to train or assist Wilder with being victorious in this trilogy against Tyson Fury. Mayweather has been of no effect to none of the boxers that signed under him. Tank Davis doesn't listen to him for advice. No fighters. I think only advice fighters ask for this dude is to is for money, is for money advice, in which he has not been able to which he refuses to pass along. But when it comes to his advice inside the ring, many people are avoiding him. Floyd Mayweather is not the go-to person that people are looking at as far as where they go in their careers, professionally and success-wise. Him being able to help Deontay Wilder, his style doesn't match for the style that Wilder works with. Sometimes that's the thing when it comes to certain athletes, people want to pattern them after certain styles when physically they may not have the particular movements that's needed to fight a particular way. Many of them aren't molded into this piece of clay that you want it to be. You just have to work off what has always worked with this fighter. A person may shoot with a particular form. Now, do you go about breaking that down and readjusting it and making it look pretty? Now this guy's airballing all over the place, but he shoots with a sloppy form, but he's hitting threes out the gym. You don't tamper with that. And Floyd just wants to be cosmetic with the way he wants to style Wilder, and that's not going to work. What works for Wilder is what he's always worked with, and it's worked with the team that he has had. Now his team, like I was saying, I think we was on Stormy B-Man's channel about how my favorite fighter, Lennox Lewis, where he went through when he suffered his losses after going on this wave of just having easy wins into where you become so complacent with the type of training, complacent with your style of fighting, because Lennox was kind of over aggressive. He didn't really use his height early in his career because poking through everybody until he got touched by Oliver McCall. Then he had to go to the table. He took a different trainer because he accepted the fact that trainers he had couldn't take him there, but he found the proper trainers. Now, with Wilder, he's been exploding through everybody. He reaches this moment to where they had a little setback, but not a full setback to where it was like an even playing field. To me, I think there was some cardio and stamina issues that set things back. So you can't fully blame it on that coaching staff on him suffering that defeat. In my opinion, I think he has to come in, see if he's re-energized, recharged, and he can go right off of what works for him. And that's being more aggressive, that patient style of fighting. He has to reject it. He has to go back to how he used to be when he was in there going at guys. And that worked for Tyson. You'll freeze Tyson's offense up going at him. But Mayweather, no, he's gonna do some unnecessary changes is what he'll do. And I think there'll be a huge conflict. And then with all the hate that Floyd Mayweather has pushed towards Wilder's way, directly or indirectly, he's ex from the situation because you couldn't trust him. And many of Floyd's own fighters don't trust him to even be able to work with him. They just want to be around the name. But when it comes to advice, you go down to the Mayweather's gym, he ain't down there giving advice to cats unless he finds something. He's a favoritism type dude, and you see it. And you also hear them talk shit about the dude at that gym. But yeah, that's all I got on that one. I don't think he'll work at all.
Look, man, two things stand out, okay? And there's a little poll. I want to know what you guys think right now. Make sure you throw a jab at the like button while you're at it. But look, man, I still remember when, I think it was you, Reggie. Somebody told me, like, man, TMT is in the banner of the Wilder Ortiz 2 fight. You know, like the TMT promotions. And I was like, what? And I looked at it, and it was. You know what I mean? It was right there. Yet Mayweather, with millions of followers, not one tweet about the damn fight. Not one. He tweets about it, I guarantee, at least 10,000 people buy the fight if he just with one fucking tweet. You know what I mean? At the very least. You know what I mean? I'm probably being conservative with that, but and who knows how much it would have done if he would have promoted it and stuff. I mean, he's the promoter supposedly, all right? Now I do disagree with one thing, Reggie, as far as giving money advice about money and all that. I mean, Al Heyman is the one to go to for advice. He's the advisor. You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
You can just go to Al Heyman about that. Like, you know what I mean? I think money-wise, Wilder's good. Like, you know what I mean? But as far as that goes, everyone's put in two. Look at this. there's not even a troll that has the energy to put one. Like, you know what I mean? That's how bad this is. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody believes that Mayweather's being an honest actor here, at all. If I was Wilder, I would say, I wouldn't even entertain this at all. Okay, I don't think Mayweather could really teach anything at this point to Wilder. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, Wilder needs to work on this and that." Well, it's not Mayweather that's going to help him with this. Mayweather doesn't have a track record, really. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, Reggie, Stormy, anybody in the chat, but I don't think Roger or Floyd Sr. have ever trained like a heavyweight at a high level. Am I wrong?
Nope, I think Andrew Tabiti, the biggest guy they done trained.
Like, who have they trained to say, well, we know how to train heavyweights? It's a whole nother, it's a different, thing, heavyweight. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand heavyweight boxing to understand that while it's not impossible for someone who's never trained a heavyweight to train a heavyweight, Mayweather just, I've always said this. If Mayweather versus Mosley was a heavyweight fight and a heavyweight hit Mayweather, like, just assume they were heavyweights, with that right hand, the way he did several times in the second round, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, boom, night. Because you can't afford to get wobbled that much or that often in a heavyweight fight. The punches are just bigger. The impact of the shots are just louder, bigger, more explosive. Okay? Heavyweight fighters are a whole nother animal, says Mauricio Chavez. Absolutely. It's like a pit bull giving advice to a bear, like how to fight the other bear. Like you know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. All right? Nah, bro. It's not gonna work, bro. Okay?
I've got two candidates on the table that nobody is talking about, and I don't know why there's so much support for Derek James when Derek James has two talents, Charlo and Spence, who were who they were before he got his hands on them. You see, if he built somebody from the ground up and put them out there and someone else behind that person and put them out there and had a machine like that going, I could understand. But Spence is a talent that would have been who he is without Derek James. And this is not a slight on Derek James, but remember I said how he was working with Charlo that first go around. But that being said, you got another man who worked with the other Charlo, and that's Ronnie Shields, who was around the camp of Lou Duva and Georgie Benton when they brought Holyfield up to the heavyweight division. He has a vast amount of experience of working with that whole brand that main events had when they were at their heyday. Okay, he has that experience. He's working with Effie Ajaba right now, right? And he's shown that he can do it with fighters. I don't hear anyone giving Ronnie Shields any credit for what he's done. The other most experienced guy is Nazim Richardson, who had worked out there, a protege of Bowie Fischer, who, just like Eddie Futch, those men were at the apex of trainers. Old school boxing, old school values. He did it with Bernard Hopkins. You saw the end result. The Hall of Fame fighter that Bernard Hopkins is. I mean, what he's done since he's retired, we don't have to go into that outside of the ring, but as a fighter and what he faced and how he was able to persevere. The second longest reigning middleweight from Hagler, you understand? And respected, undisputed. And also what he did with Shane Mosley, resurrecting Shane when Shane got away from his dad and all of that. Richardson was there, did some tremendous things. Also, for both fighters, he was able to discover the cheating aspect of the other locker room when with Shane Mosley against Margarito, they found out about those hand wraps and everything, and the cast like wraps that Margarito was using, whatever. Then with Trinidad in his locker room, they discovered that they were doing something fishy with Trinidad's hand wraps, and he went out that same night and lost to Bernard because he had to rewrap his hands and everything, and he wasn't up to dealing with that pressure of being found out. But I'll tell you something. When you have trainers like that who can have a vested interest not only in the fighter that they're working with, but to have the gumption and the experience of understanding what people can be doing in the other locker room. If he had been with Deontay Wilder for this second fight, maybe we wouldn't have some controversy about those gloves and everything. Because Naseem Richardson, he looks out for his fighters 100%. And he said it in interviews. He respects Wilder. He has a lot of love for fighters who can do things and come up the way that Wilder did. A trainer like that is who you would like to add. It's not about replacing someone, but you cannot replace that experience. And that's what's important. And just like someone said in the chat,
Cotto actually
has more experience with heavyweights than Derek James. That is absolutely correct. You know, it's like you can't just dismiss that for somebody who's on the scene right now. You understand? So when I say these things, it's not a slam at anybody, but it's about promoting what's actually there that should be promoted because people are not acknowledging it. They're just not. And that's a shame because there's legacy behind these men whose names I mentioned.
Shout out to the Kelly Enigma in the house. Andrew Charles comes in. Salutista, Reggie Stormy. Andrew, I saw your super chat from yesterday. I appreciate that. Much love, man. I know I didn't get to all this. Sometimes, guys, I don't know why it doesn't show it to me on StreamYard, so I apologize about that. And I know Ronald Finkley sent like another one that I did not see. I appreciate that as well. So I always write those down when I go back and check to make sure when you guys come on and stuff like that, right? Chicano Prophet, you there? He called me out about some, and I just want to make sure that he knows that I already paid my debt. You know what I mean? So I can get out of it and shit. That's all. You know what I mean? But you let me know if you're there. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Look, man, Floyd Mayweather is just obviously not being an honest actor. Okay, look, Chicano Prophet. Okay, I lost a bet. There it is. It's the Canelo shirt. Okay, there. Right, done. Okay, so D-Style never pays his debt. I paid my debt. Okay, right. You could see the Canelo logo right there. All right. After tomorrow, I'm gonna wash my car with this shirt. Right. Just get it on. No seriousness. I'll wear it here and there. It's all right. Okay. Most satisfying, says Chicano Prophet. There it is. Okay. Now with that said, and on Wednesday, I'll wear it again. Just to G Funk owes it to you too, by the way. The G Funk didn't want to show up because he didn't want to wear the shirt. Okay, just to letting everybody know there. Okay, he said, I don't got time for YouTube today. Are you sure about that, G Funk? That's not what I heard in the streets, right? But anyway, in all seriousness, guys, shout out to G Funk. Subscribe to his channel. Mayweather wants to train Wilder. I think it's a bunch of horseshit. Talk about what can I say to be in the headlines and to have a channel like D-Style Boxing put in his title and talk about it. That's what he did, and unfortunately, he succeeded. But I'm not giving him any positive feedback here, okay? Could you imagine a press conference with Floyd as the trainer? The guy is just going to be talking about himself the whole time, bro, okay? Hey, Floyd! Oh, no. How do you think Wilder should be able to win this fight? Well, 50 have tried, 50 have failed. It's at the end of the day, I am boxing. You know what I mean? When I left boxing and now and I have a lot of investments, going on. I have invested a lot in my life, and so for my children, my children's children, and I think the money team is the past, the present, and the future of sports and entertainment. Hey Floyd, but what about Wilder? Well, what do you think he should do in the rematch to beat him? You know what I mean? I want everybody to break my pay per view record. So I'm going to try my best. Maybe Wilder breaks my pay per view record, and I do hold the pay per view record. Everybody said I couldn't do it, but I did it. I am the past, the present, and the future sports and entertainment. This is the money team. We are coming. Wilder, Fury. They do what they do. But I am 50-0. Does that sound about right, or am I off a little bit? Yeah.
That's accurate as hell, man.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, well, why'd you decide to train Wilder? Well, 40 have tried, 50 have tried, 50 have failed. But I take nothing away from anybody. But I got 3 houses, and I have several cars. And people say Mayweather can't take care of his finances, but I have taken care of my finances. People say that I want to come back and that I do this for attention, but I don't need attention. I mean, I got all the money in the world. I have money for my children, my children's children. Anyway, this is starting to sound like a Mayweather press conference. Okay, what it's starting to sound like. But with that said, you guys, before we move to the next topic, you have any final thoughts in regards to Mayweather, and offering to train Wilder? Moving on. All right. Sounds about right.
I just like to say on behalf of Camp Wilder, no thanks.
Ah, man. Yeah, he's still talking about his watches and shit. All right. I mean, holy shit, bro. Every time this dude gets in, and then they're gonna ask him about him. He goes to the first take. They're gonna ask him about him. Max Kellerman. Like, are you gonna come back to boxing? Are you gonna come back, Floyd? You know what I mean? Man. And then Max Kellerman has that little wart right here in his lip, by the way. I don't know what that's about. It's been there for a while, bro. Okay? Whoever you're going down on, bro, has got something going on. I'm just saying, okay, get that fixed, bro. Okay? Like, you're on national TV, bro. Put some makeup on that shit. All right? No wonder you're like fucking like this. You know what I mean? And anyway, with that said, Larry Holmes came out, former heavyweight champion of the world. Larry Holmes comes out and he says, pretty much, I'm just putting it in a nutshell, and we're going to get Stormy's thoughts on this right away. That he felt that, from what I've seen, that he felt Wilder quit, and he had some critical things to say about the corner being a bunch of yes men. Stormy, what are your thoughts on Larry Holmes coming out and giving his thoughts on this, man?
Well, with the old school approach that Larry Holmes has in his view of boxing, being 70 years old and an accomplished person in the sport, I take what he has to say with respect, because he's done it. He's proved it. He's gone through it. And as I had remarked when we were talking about, we're going to talk about this, we're living in a society now where no one appreciates constructive criticism. Everybody is uber sensitive, which is why children can't learn in school. And it's also why teachers can't teach in school. You understand? Everybody is so sensitive that they can't even grasp the message. They want to shoot and kill the messenger. They don't even want the messenger to come. Bar the doors and the windows. They don't want a message. Everybody wants to write their own narrative. But when you do that, how can you improve? Where is there room to improve? If you're living inside your own world, your own paradox. Larry Holmes spoke about the failure of Wilder's corner, which was a failure. It was when it comes down to particularities. Was he really ready? The when he faced adversity in the fight, were there adjustments ready to be made in the corner? Things like putting cold water on his head when he was, concussed or whatever, he was dazed or whatever. The cut in the ear to not be successful at getting the cut to be abated, to stop it, to prevent that from draining down into his ear, to ensure that in one way or another, to give him something to do tactically. He was having difficulty with his legs. They had no answers. So when Larry Holmes spoke about them not knowing what they were doing, how could you argue these points? And he wasn't saying it from a position of just putting them down. He was like, it was evident. You're watching this. He obviously knew what to do because he's been in situations before. When he fought Ken Norton back in 78, he fought Ken Norton. He fought the whole fight with a pulled muscle in his right arm. But he worked that jab overtime. And the jab is the lead hand. Where was Wilder's jab in this fight? You would be hard-pressed to say he threw 10 jabs in a round. And the fight went 7 rounds. But I think his jab output was nowhere near where it should have been. And with the type of jab that he's capable of utilizing, he could have made this fight so much easier for himself. Where was the reminder of that? If you're going to try to steady yourself up against the ropes, you have to know how to fight off of the ropes. Where was the schooling on that? Where was the wherewithal to do certain things, to make adjustments? It was not there. And this is a hater of Wilder. I think that he was a hard-nosed teacher of the aspects of what the shortcomings were from Wilder's corner. And as far as him talking about quitting, it was the aspect of giving the impression of not being able to do any better than where you are right now. How come Wilder didn't throw a low blow at Fury at some point, or do something to protect himself, stick his elbow in his mouth or in his eye or in his throat, do something to stop the momentum? This all you need to do. It's a fight, huh? Fury was punching in the back of the head, so it's open season to do something back to Fury. But where was Mark Breland and all of those guys sitting over there with halos over their heads and not giving him these instructions? The next time that SOB comes into you, stick your damn elbow right in his mouth, huh? Do something to stop the train. But there was none of that. There was even a disagreement about whether the towel should be thrown in or not. Do you want the man to die? He's out there getting his butt kicked. But see, when Larry Holmes said what he said it from a point of someone who's been through the fire. It's different when someone who's sitting on the sidelines just giving their opinion. But this man had one of the biggest fights against one of the biggest chances of rewriting history in the history of boxing in the heavyweight division when he faced Jerry Cooney. And ironically, in their fight, Larry Holmes, the champ who had reigned, he gets introduced second. Jerry Cooney was that important to the masses that they would say, we're going to introduce Cooney first. Yeah, he was a number 1 contender. But why did he need to be introduced before the world champion, who had multiple title defenses at the time that they crossed each other's paths? That sent the message to Larry. You know what? They want me to lose to this dude. And he raised his game. He later said, years later, he said, Jerry Cooney hit him with a left hook to the body that really hurt him really bad. But he said he couldn't let this guy know anything. He said he was in a war and he had the battle. So how could you not, unless you're uber sensitive in this era of what we're talking about, forgive me, you just discount what he's saying because it's something that you hear, it sounds negative. But if you're in a classroom and you got a professor teaching and you answer an equation and he tells you, no, dodo bird, that's not the answer. Try again. You're going to get mad at him. He called me a dodo bird. So you're going to shut your brain down to the teaching instead of listening and saying, oh, I was wrong. Let me go back and check and come back with the correct answer or whatever. That's how I take it that people are listening to this interview. And besides, he was doing a phone interview with guys who were trying to steer him in an area where they could get something negative from him. But he also mentioned Anthony Joshua coming down there to his facility, so-called coming there to learn a jab. He was there for like 2 or 3 days and just disappeared. Didn't say, Larry, I'm out of here. Thanks for your help or nothing. He said the man just vacated. He was gone. So it's obvious that these young men of today and some of their followers out here listening right now, somebody might be out there what I'm saying, but you're so sensitive that you can't get the message. Don't worry about who's bringing it. Just worry about the truth that's in it. That's how you'll gain. That's how you'll overcome. I had said they should reach out to Larry. They should reach out to Larry because of his knowledge, what he could tell them, what he could help with his mental acumen as far as what he's facing here. Because this fight coming up is the fight of his life. And what better Hall of Fame fighter who's still on hand? I'm sure Larry would talk to him. And this is not about training him. It's about getting him mentally in a place where he understands what he do, because he has the ability to do it. You don't get 10 title defenses. You don't win the World Heavyweight Championship without having ability. It is there. It's untapped. You have to get in there. Sometimes you have to make adjustments. Sometimes you have to bring people in. Sometimes you have to just shake things up because it will help you get to the next level. Tyson Fury didn't hesitate to go back to his Kronk roots in the biggest fight of his life. And he made some adjustments. That's the thing that's lost on all of this. It's like when you say, I need help, and you show humility in that, that does not make you weak. It shows a resolve and a strength that's within because you want to improve. Why not use the counsel of the elders when they are there instead of just waiting to say RIP to somebody? It'll be RIP for your career if you don't look to make some adjustments. That's all I got to say about that.
Thank you. First, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you bet.
All right. So I just, the reason I took the camera off is not because I'm shy or anything like that. It's just that I don't have that much bandwidth for some reason. So just going audio will help from cutting me off and stuff. But Reggie, give us your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, my thoughts on it, man. I don't look nothing at none of the criticism they giving that. I don't listen. I don't think Wilder needs to bring anyone into his team. I don't think there's that critical or that dire of a situation going on here. I think the fighter came in here in a bad state before he even stepped in the ring. Even before this punch landed, the fighter was in a bad state. I don't think it had anything to do with the team. The team's been successful, and I think people panic. And the one thing I disagree with everybody on when it comes to fighting is switching trainers and switching this and that. This guy's 40 fights in, has been 40 times successful with this team. I don't buy into none of that. No Larry Holmes talk, regardless of how good his career's been. Who has Larry Holmes been an influence to in heavyweight boxing? Nobody. Yeah, his career's been great, and I highlight that. Kudos to that. But Wilder needs to stay focused with his team. There's no need to bring interference in breaking off what this team has been successful at. When you come across failures, this is the perfect time to embrace defeat. And this is the one thing people have to accept in life is sometimes failure does nothing but make you a stronger and greater person, depending on how you bounce back from it. Now, this is a perfect time for that team to take it to the drawing board, review everything that went on, and go right back in there charging. But Wilder went into this thing, it was nothing really that team can do, was nothing a great trainer can do. Once that dude was hit with that shot and hit with multiple shots, his load was gone. Wilder was depleted early in this fight. He was sucking for air in the second round. And this is what I'd state when I see in this fight. Even when Wilder get hit with that shot, it's due to Wilder being out on his legs. Sorry, my kids are in here. Hopefully it's not interfering in the background. But before Wilder get hits with the shot, matter of fact, the close of the second round, when Wilder goes to throw off he tries to load up with the right hand. He shoots the left, shoots the right, he misses it, and he falls forward, stumbling, and Tyson Fury tried to hop up on him. Tyson Fury tries to go after him. Wilder is fatigued. He can barely get himself in position to score up to defend himself. He falls against the turnbuckle, and Fury's trying to jump on him, but not really hitting him with nothing. He was gassed right at that moment. Now, what could have happened is what Andre Ward was highlighting. I thought Ward was just hating and tripping about the back and forth pacing. There was a lot of, amped up energy. Close that door. Amped up energy with Wilder leading into this thing. So it's not nothing dealing with the team. It had everything doing with the fighters' physical stamina is going into this fight. So going in here, it ain't nothing wrong with the team that he has. He has the right team. None of these other fools who just want to take advantage because this moment is so huge. This moment is big for anybody to want to surround it. You get done walked away from $1 million pay-per-view, you're going right back into it. What's to say it doesn't turn into $2 million pay-per-view thing? People just want to have their names attached to this thing. I think Wilder, close that door. I think Wilder's going to go into this thing and he's going to mash the gas on Tyson Fury. He's going to go in here in better condition, mind engaged on his fight, and he just fights his fight. Wilder's critical left jab. Wilder's left jab was looking good before he gassed out. And when Wilder threw punches, it kept Tyson Fury at bay. Tyson Fury ran to the center of that ring and didn't do shit with it, where he tried to step to Wilder. Now, Wilder can't step back, but I think what Wilder was doing in this fight, this is where I'm taking it from, evaluating this fight from the standpoint of shit was going wrong. Wilder backing up the whole time, trying to buy himself some time because he was feeling fatigue and weak early in this fight before he even kicked off. So anyone coming in there to try to do anything with this team, in my opinion, fuck him. I think he should stay with Mark Breedlin. And as much as JD is done pissed me off, but it's just a matter of time to get over it. That's the team he needs to stay with. And they know what to go to the drawing table and fix because there ain't really too much to fix. Keeping the hands up, but he probably didn't keep the hands up due to being tired. He's going to have to stay sharp on that, stay sharp on defense. And the other thing that just puts so much faith in this is the condition that Wilder was in this weakened state. Tyson Fury laying on heavy leather, you couldn't knock the guy out, nor could you hurt the guy. You didn't hurt the guy with any of these shots. A shot that hit him behind the head, he got up. He was staggered a little bit, knocking off the equilibrium. The shot down to the body, there was a trip before that shot landed. So there's nothing for Wilder to really worry about except not running into shots. Now Wilder ran into some heavy ass straight punches from Tyson Fury. It buzzed him. It stopped him in his tracks for a moment, but didn't do anything else. He recovered from it. So going in this one, I have so much faith in Wilder just blowing through Tyson Fury. And I think he's going to do it with what he has, with the tools he has. He ain't got to change too much or nothing. He is who he is, but that's all I got on that. Yeah, go ahead, OG. I think D-Stout's still trying to get on.
Well, one thing is for certain. He better be ready for this next fight because it could go south quick, but he could also come out there and go out there and hit the guy and it'd be over with or whatever because he's more than capable of doing that. But the one thing he has to display when he goes out there is when the bell rings, he's got to be ready to go. No excuses, nothing like that. This is everything. It's for all the marbles. And I'll tell you, I want him to hurt Tyson Fury. I want him to do some dirty stuff to Tyson Fury. And I've remarked, and I'm going to stay on my square. If he goes out there and he finally catches the bag, I ain't going to say catch the body, I ain't gonna say RIP or none of that stuff, because Tyson Fury was trying to kill him in that rematch. With whatever was going on with that funny business with his gloves, that mocking and licking the blood crap, all of that, he opened the Pandora's box for anything that's coming in the third fight. And I hope that Wilder is prepared to deliver. I want him to be able to be more than capable of going out there and holding his own and taking it all away from this guy. That's all I'm concerned with. And I wouldn't be unhappy if he knocked out Sugar Hill too. After they did the 10 count on Fury, if he knocked out fucking Sugar Hill and got fined and suspended behind that. Knock his ass up too. Gary Coleman looking mother. Get him too. He over there, turncoat, Uncle Tom trader ass. You over there helping somebody cheat against our champ. What the fuck you doing out there? I'm sorry, D-Style, but Sugar Hill, get him too. Knock his ass out.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, bro.
Yeah, we hear you.
I'm losing the fight against StreamYard. Like, I'm trying to I need to hire Sugar Hill to help me fight StreamYard right now. But I missed a lot of the. I was listening through the YouTube either way, but look, man. Let me get my thoughts on Air Holmes really quick, okay? I don't look. Do I agree that Wilder quit or something like that? Okay, no. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that assessment. But I could see how maybe Larry Holmes can look at it from a different perspective than anyone else here. You know what I mean? Because he understands it more than all of us. You know what I mean? And I could also see how he can provide some constructive criticism of the corners. I do agree. I mean, some of the examples he gave make a lot of sense, if we're honest. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that he's the right guy to go and be in a corner and all that. It doesn't necessarily mean that, right? But, it wouldn't hurt, for Wilder to meet Larry Holmes and talk and listen to that, constructive criticism. You know what I mean? But and I agree, BFTV. I said I don't agree that Wilder quit. I've said that. But we also have to keep in mind that's Larry Holmes' thoughts. That's what he thinks. You know what I mean? And we don't even know that's 100% his feeling because of the type of interview that he had and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's what he feels. You know what I mean? He does have a right to express his opinion. I mean, this guy's a former heavyweight champion of the world. You know what I mean? We do have to, even if we don't agree with what he says, we do have to listen to what he says. And everything he said isn't necessarily wrong either, especially about the corner. I do agree that I don't think he needs to switch teams and all that. Diaz maybe, you know what I mean? But it's not a necessity. I don't think he needs to do that, especially to win this fight. He had this team in the first fight. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are acting like, the second fight's the only fight that's happened or something. We have data of another fight. We have another fight that we could look at too. Where they could look at some of the success they had right there. That's what I will, say about that. All right, BFTB says, "Fuck it, I don't care about Tyson, Holmes, Floyd, everybody," and that's fine, man. I hear you. Talk to Lennox Lewis. That I do agree with. I think Lennox Lewis, his style. I'm not saying Lennox should train him, but he can work with them. And prepare for the fight. I agree that Nassim Richardson would be a good acquisition. Cotto hired Richardson for his rematch with Antonio Margarito, right? He did hire him to look at those gloves, whether that was a mental aspect, like, hey, this is the dude that caught you, you know what I mean? And plus the fact that he will catch it, try anything slimy, you know what I mean? or anything like that. Boxing is a dirty sport. People will get away with what they get away with, period. You know what I mean? So you definitely need somebody in your team that's going to be there watching like a hawk. You know what I mean? Like just watching them, every moment. You know what I mean? Like take a bottle with you to piss on that because you ain't even going to the restroom. All right? You ain't even do that. Okay? Just going to watch them. Don't even blink. Just watch them every second. All right? That's what you need in boxing. You know what I mean? So this team, in many aspects, needs to either get it together or acquire to the team. You know what I mean? You could hire Richardson to go to that corner. I'm sorry, to the other locker room. You can hire somebody that can help strategize with you. Emmanuel Stewart used to work in multiple fighters. I remember Chavez didn't get rid of his team, but he hired Emmanuel Stewart. I forget what. I think it was a rematch with Maldrick Tater. I could be wrong about that, but there was a fight where I did see Emmanuel Stewart working Chavez in camp in certain types of fighters. You know what I mean? So you can hire somebody to give you a different perspective, and help you with the camp and all that. That's definitely possible. You guys have anything to add to that?
No.
Stormy? I don't know if it's my but I can't hear Stormy.
No, I'm sorry. What was the question?
No, I just if you wanted to, if you had anything else to add.
Oh no, I kind of expressed what I had to say about it.
I hear you, man. Okay. What's up? It looks like you want to say something, Reggie.
No, I was gonna say knockout Sugar Hill.
Knockout Sugar Hill. Well, I mean, Sugar Hill's this thing, bro. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with like fuck Sugar Hill, but I'll respect his opinion. But at the end of the day, behind that exclusive man, all the chicks, bro. Okay, and this dude, with Daniel Stewart, he might know better than Sugar Hill because he's actually done in the ring. Against opposition heavyweights before. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying about that, man. Okay. I'm talking about the asterisks here, but yeah, that's it happens in sports for sure. Okay, but in boxing, it's a little more serious because it's bodily harm. You know what I mean? So we do have to take everything a little more serious in boxing. Okay. He did his job. You have to be absolutely. With that said, guys, this has been a phenomenal show. Let's start with you, Stormy. Give us your final thoughts, bro.
Hey man, great show. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate when you bring me on to talk it up with you and Reggie and G Funky, who's out there in the chat and wasn't able to join with us. I just look forward to what's on the horizon, man. And regardless of whatever happens, I'm Team Wilder. I want Wilder to smash this guy in the rematch, and I want him to hurt him too. I don't want him just to knock him out or it be a victory. He got to get some of that back, some of that dirty stuff that went down. He need to hurt this guy. If he ends up with a broken jaw or something or a pounded eye socket or whatever, good. That's good theater. We like horror films, right? So Wilder pushing his head on the other side of his skull is a good thing for boxing. And let's just do it. Bomb Squad. And like I said, while you were having technical difficulties, I wouldn't be mad if he found his way over to the corner and knocked out Sugar Hill too. Hit him right in his freaking mouth. And I'm sorry, but the kid should be in bed. But that's what it should be. But thanks for having me on.
All right, well, there you go. Those are Stormy's thoughts. Reggie Owens, give us your final thoughts, bro.
Yeah, man, this is enjoyable, man. I enjoyed the heck out of this, man. Good boxing talk, man. Enjoyed every topic that we touched on. But that's all I got, man. Really enjoyed it, man. And you guys catch me at Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The bronze bomber needs to come out of Wilder, and I want to end it with this, man. Okay. There's a lot of talk from a lot of, you know, um, you know, media, YouTubers, making comments about Deontay Wilder's boxing ability. Okay. Look, a lot of them are just a little too vague for my liking. Like when people say Deontay Wilder can't box. Well, what do you mean? Can you explain that to me? You know what I mean? Because if you can't box, you can't be a bronze medalist in the Olympics. It's not going to happen. Okay, like you get a dude that doesn't know how to box, put him in the Olympics. He's literally not going to do anything in the Olympics. He's not even going to make the Olympics. Andy Ruiz, that was boxing since he was a little kid, couldn't make the Olympics. He made the Olympic trials, but did you guys see him in the Olympics? No. Okay. Now, making the Olympic trials is an accomplishment in itself. I'm not trying to downplay that. Okay. But Wilder did make it to the Olympics. He had to beat several amateurs several times to make it there. He had to win a match to get at least the bronze medal position. And he was young then. And I invite anybody, this is all you have to do. Okay. And in no way, shape, or form am I even saying, oh, he has nothing to work on, nothing like that's not what I'm saying. I just want to address the very vague comments that he doesn't know how to box. Okay. I'm hearing a lot of people in the mainstream media. On Fox Sports, it's titled Wilder doesn't know how to box. You have a lot of casual people just believing these things. Like they literally believe that this guy doesn't know how to box at all, and he's just throwing the right hand and catching guys, and that's all he's doing. That is very elementary, okay? That is pathetic. I had a dude yesterday in my chat saying all Wilder does is hop forward and throw a right hand. And this guy's a boxing channel. No offense, boxing talk, but that wasn't a very smart thing to say, right? And when he got corrected by Mr. Boxing Today, you flipped it, right? Because when you're talking to people that know what they're talking about, it's a little different, right? Well, when you have a guy like Stephen A. Smith, who is not a boxing expert, say, hey, Wilder, this man doesn't know how to box. He just goes in there and, he lands that big right hand, and that's it. Guys that just have a big right hand don't become world champions. They don't win bronze medals. They don't do any of that, okay? Like, you just don't do that. Little Jacob says, did you see Wilder in the Olympics? He looked like little Bambi on ice, and he thought punches like my kid windmill style, and he hasn't progressed till this day. You're being a troll, bro, right now. And just so you know, I can get rid of you if I want, okay? That's warning number one, okay? Stop being a troll. So if you go back, if you actually have eyes, okay? If you actually have eyes, you can actually just look it up, put Olympics, Deontay Wilder, and you will see him boxing, okay, with those big-ass gloves and the headgear, which is a lot more difficult to just knock guys out. You have to box to be able to do what you got to do, all right? Like that's just period. Period. What's up, Curtis Anderson? Many people don't have the understanding of the sweet science. No, they don't. And like I said, like I said, we want to make sure, okay? We just want to make sure that we don't dumb down the conversation. The conversation is getting too dumbed down. And I'm tired of the conversation getting too dumbed down. If you just want to say dumb things like, oh, all he does is throw a right hand, that's it. Well, I can't respect that opinion. That's not a good assessment. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? You could say what you want, but I'm not going to respect your assessment of the fight. Okay? I'm not going to respect it. I can't. It's impossible. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay? It doesn't mean that he doesn't have things. Every fighter has things he could work on, improve, etc. And we talked about those things. But I just wanted to address those very vague statements that are out there. Okay? And people are using the loss to Fury as some type of confirmation bias. He didn't know how to box. I told you. Look, he lost to Fury. Okay. Right now, Fury's the best heavyweight in the world. Right now. So losing to number one all of a sudden means you don't have any skills. Absolutely. Maurice Chavez says you don't get to where Wilder is without having skill. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. But with that said, Wilder has power, but he can box. Average take from mainstream media. You have to box to land the right hand, guys. Okay? You can't just throw it and land it. Not at this level. Okay? I'm just saying. With that said, you guys tune in to the March 2nd edition of Aftermath with Stormy and Reggie Owens. Catch their channels. Subscribe to their channels. All right? Jab the like button. Make sure you do that. Make sure it turns blue. I appreciate everyone tuning in. If you haven't hit it yet, press the like button. Okay? This is D-Style Boxing. And what do we say?
Keep it boxing.
Keep it boxing.